Okay, we'll get started. Y'all stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank everybody for being here, and as we've been doing, we're going to have Brother Ed Berry say a blessing over this meeting. He's from Henry Christian Church. I want to welcome you, Brother Ed.
Judge Beggs, thank you and the court for inviting me. Being here in the 4-H Center brings to my memory the kindness of the court, the generosity of the people of Henry County. Henry Christian had our first services here in early 1970 and 71 for about the first 3 years. And then when our building burned in 1994, again, through your generosity and kindness, we came back over here and this became our church building for about a year. So thank you. I want to thank the members of the Fiscal Court. I thank God for you. I thank you for your leadership. I thank you for your faithful service. You carry a great weight of responsibility for our county, a lot of responsibilities. The Bible says that God appoints our government leaders and that we're to obey them and we're to pray for them. And I want you to know that I pray for you all and your leadership, and I'm honored to be here to pray for you tonight. Father, in the name of Jesus Christ, I pray for the members of our fiscal court and all of those that are supporting their efforts. I pray that you would give them wisdom, insight, and discernment for the business that would be brought before them. Give them the mind of Christ. Help them to lay aside self to be able to come together for what's in the best interest of the people and the citizens of Henry County. Help them, encourage them, and strengthen them for the work that you've called them to. In the name of Jesus Christ, we ask and pray. Amen.
Amen. Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. Everybody's present, and so right now we need to get approval for the February 21 meeting minutes. We get a motion for that. Second by Kevin. All in favor? Thank you. And then we have special meeting March the 6th. If we could get approval for those minutes.
Make a motion to approve it.
Carl got it. He is second. All in favor? Okay, we're going to start something a little different today. I really want to thank people that have been involved in anything in public service, not elected public service, but just helping in volunteer ways, how important it is for the people to volunteer for things. And there's so much can be said. We got two that we're going to honor here today. Our first honoree tonight is Jo Brewer. She is originally from Cropper and traveled for some years, but she has been a devoted servant to Henry County since 1984. She has touched countless lives across the county, especially children, from her youth ministry at Franklin Baptist Church to 7 county services and the Love a Child mentoring program. She has given so much to families, especially in Henry County. She has been involved in many other initiatives, missions, and organizations to suffice it to say she has dedicated her life to caring for others. Her family, her community, and thousands of others has been touched by the loving hand of Jo Mama. And as she has affectionately been known. Join me in recognizing Jo Brewer for all of her work to make tremendous difference for so many who needed extra love and care. Okay, our next, person is Dallas Milliner. He hails from Virginia, but he has, committed so much energy to Henry County community through volunteering in various organizations. Again, the list is long, so, but some of his efforts have been directed at prison and veterans missions, fraternal, community groups, health support organizations, Friends of the Library. Dallas was never just a member, he was an out front as a leader and supporting and encouraging others. Throughout his courageous battle with cancer, he has worked to make a difference and make lives better for others. We want this recognition to let him know just how much we appreciate all his hours of work on the behalf of others. And I will say, if the folks that was here for the presentation, if you need to leave, then that's fine. We understand that you may not want to sit through the proceedings here, but I do thank you for coming and supporting these folks, and again, congratulations to both of you guys. Thank you. Yes, sir. Sure.
Glad to see you tonight.
Okay, we're glad to be able to do that. I think it's good to recognize people for when they volunteer. We don't have any unfinished business. We'll move on to new business. Go to the roads. Kenny, will give a director's report.
Well, we've been busy cutting up trees. We had several go down throughout the whole county. But we've got to get all them cleaned up that we know of, that, nobody else has called. We've been doing a lot of ditch cleaning. And Travis, he got the online auction for this truck thing, and so that's going pretty smooth. The bushwhacker is down. Hopefully it'll be fixed by tomorrow. And Brad and Danny, we had a road committee meeting here last week in Kevin, and they was telling me about the money that we can qualify for in Frankfurt. So I reached out to Martha Horseman and Adam Kirk, and there is a lot of money up there that we can get. And next week, they're gonna call me and I'm gonna go up and meet with them. They're gonna walk me through on what we can gain. That's money that the state has put aside through the University of Kentucky for the Department of Transportation, and there's also a bunch of federal aid money coming from the federal government. That and what this money's for is road safety projects. Let's say if we got a road with a real bad curve, bunch of trees and bushes growing up, not proper signage, they will come in and help pay for all of that, for us to clean it and widen the road if we have to. But there's a lot of money that we can get from that, and I'm gonna start, well, I started the process today, and next week I'll go up and meet with them and get the ball rolling. And of course, Scott will have to sign off on anything that, we can get through them. So, but yeah, and hopefully Scott will be able to go with me when we go up there to meet these people.
Yes, we talked about that today, and so we'll, as soon as he gets the information in, we'll get everything filled out to get the ball rolling, and hopefully we can get some funding for some of our, like New Cut, those kind of roads.
Yeah, she said there's, the federal government's handing down millions to states right now, and, so we definitely wanna reach out there and grab it, and if we don't, somebody else is going to, so it'd be, quite a bit of paperwork and several trips to Frankfurt, but in the end, it'll all be worth it, so.
All right, committee report, Brad, y'all did meet, I know.
Yeah, he pretty much covered most of my stuff. We talked about cleaning some ditches out and equipment, talking about selling, trucks online, maybe investing in, something which we'll talk about later, to clean ditches and fix drainage problems and stuff. And maintenance records, everything looks good, so everything's going good.
And we did sell one of the trucks, it sold yesterday.
Yeah, we actually got rid of it today. The buyer came and picked it up, so I'm gonna work on getting the other stuff. I kinda wanna get one under our belt just to see how the process went and make sure it went smooth and everything, but it did. And so we'll get the others posted. I've got the information for them, so we'll get those posted soon.
And that information I gave Kenny, so y'all thought I was up there sleeping through the class, and so pay attention sometimes.
Yeah, well, thank you all, and, so we'll move on to EMS Taxing District, your committee report.
You got anything to say about that one, Brad?
No, it's your job, go ahead.
Yeah, we met last night, and this was our, Brad and myself, only our second meeting, but we have dug into some things that are really interesting. We started working on the budget, last night, and we'll continue next month to, finalize the budget, I guess, for '24. I understand that there have been a couple complaints about response times for the ambulances in Henry County. I'd like for everybody to understand that we have 2 ambulances on most of the time. Not all the time, but most of the time. If you have, on the times, they try to do it by assessing the past, and the lady that does this is phenomenal. I mean, she can pull up any kind of report you want in a matter of seconds, and I've asked her for several reports already, and she's gotten them to me just as quick as she could. In 2021, our response time was 12.07 minutes, and this is time from the ambulance goes en route till they arrive at the scene. In 22, it was 12.08 minutes. In 23, it's 12.07 minutes. This is below the national average for rural communities. It's also below Shelby County and Oldham County. So we're actually doing pretty good. And if there's a federal law that says if you're gonna be, if you think you're gonna be more than 10 minutes out, you have to call for backup from a different county. And we have an agreement with 3 or 4 different counties, 3 I think it is, that if they can't make the run, or they're all the way on the other end of the county, that they call Shelby or they call Oldham County, and so far it's working really good. So, you know, if you do have a direct complaint, and I understand that you've gotten one, you know, you can send it to Scott, he can give it to me, and we can take it to the taxing district board and find out what's going on. But as of right now, it looks to me like everything's where it should be.
Questions? Okay, we'll move on to planning, zoning, solid waste, administrator's report.
So last month we had 7 building permits, 16 electrical permits, and we had a new administrative assistant start Monday. And that's the only thing I got from our report.
Okay, next is the zone change recommendation. Cassidy, you wanna maybe make, what the process on this would be, let everybody be aware?
Sure, yes, so this is, you're gonna hear the zone change recommendation that the planning commission, made their findings. You as the legislative body, the fiscal court, you have three options. You can first uphold the findings to approve or deny. So based on the planning and zoning commissions, you can make the decision as a fiscal court to approve those or deny what the findings were. Those will be read, I believe, by Jason tonight, or you've already been provided them, one of the two.
I'm gonna
You're gonna read
hand
them?
them to them now.
Okay. Second option would be to make your own findings based on the record that was presented to the planning commission. You as the fiscal court will be making your own independent findings. That's your second option. Your third option is to hold your own independent hearing. There's a caveat with that hearing. You can either choose to hold a hearing based on the same evidence that was presented at the hearing presented to the commission, or you can choose to hold a hearing with completely new evidence. So those are your options as the fiscal court in reviewing whether to uphold or deny the findings.
Give me a second.
We'll give Jason time to hand that out, and then, you have a little time to look it over.
Yeah, I've got several here. I'm gonna get confused here. Too much stuff. Here. This is called the minutes, yeah.
You got one of these?
Yeah.
You got that one?
Nothing worse than having men hand anything out, we're
Yeah,
all,
I'm already confused here with all that.
should've let one of the ladies.
All right. You might have to, yeah, you don't.
Did you get this one?
There's actions.
Need some more, man?
No, thanks.
Please, I have the budget set. No, I'm not.
Want me to read it?
That's your standard.
All right, so I'm gonna read the pursuant to the Henry County zoning ordinance, section 360. The legislative body shall not act upon a proposed amendment to the official zoning map until it has received the written findings of fact, the transcript, and the recommendation thereon from the planning commission. It shall take a majority of the entire legislative body to override the recommendation of the planning commission. Unless a majority of the entire legislative body votes to override the planning commission's recommendation, such recommendation shall become final and effective if a recommendation of approval was made by the planning commission. The ordinance of the legislative body adopting the zoning map amendment shall be deemed to have passed by operation of law. I'm presenting the findings of fact and recommendation from the planning commission, including a summary of the evidence and testimony presented by the proponents and opponents of the proposed amendments at this time.
Give everybody time to look over that. Okay, Cassidy's give us the guidelines, what's your pleasure on this?
I'd like to make a motion.
I'd like to say something first. I got a problem with this part down here, the road situation. It is consistent with the comprehensive plan. This rural secondary road needs to be brought up to the standard of rural secondary road. How are we supposed to do that when it's a state road?
That's just what I think, is Mike here? Mike, I think you said that we really couldn't have anything to do with that. It just would be a recommendation, didn't you?
Would be a recommendation. There was a lot of controversy as to what this road is, whether it's sufficient for what is planned. It is a rural secondary road, which by state standards should be 20 feet wide in order to get a stripe in the middle of the road. Some of the individuals identified that it was not a full 20 feet wide in all areas. So we need to contact our state representatives. I believe there's rural secondary funding that's allocated annually for updating rural secondary roads. I'm not sure how that works, but yes, there is a need for that to get up to rural secondary standards, which is what that road is.
Okay, if we permit this before that road is taken care of and somebody has a major accident, gets hurt, gets killed, is it gonna come back on the county?
It's a state road, I don't see how it could come back on the county.
But we granted permission to put the place there.
So it depends on how the road is titled. So if it is something, if it's a recommendation, I'm hearing you correct, it's just a recommendation conditioned upon the fact that it's unclear whether it's a state or a county road, correct?
No, it is a
No, it's
state
state
road.
road.
It is a state road.
It is a state road.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's undersized state road according to federal guidelines. So is there a lawsuit waiting to happen?
Well, there's of course a lawsuit for any proposed what if in any situation. It would just be, so tonight you need to make your decision as a legislative body. Are you going to go through and review all of the evidence that was presented to the commission? Yes or no? Rather than get into, if there's more issues at hand that you want to dive into, that you need to further look into what was presented as evidence to the commission, or whether or not you're requesting new evidence to be heard with you as the legislative body being the deciding body.
Any more questions? I guess if you want to make a motion, it's,
Okay, I'd like to make a motion based upon the summary evidence, the testimony presented by the proponents and opponents of the proposed amendment, and findings of fact and recommendations that determines the amendment in this agreement with the Henry County Comprehensive Plan by the Henry County Planning and Zoning Commission, I motion to agree with the Commission's recommendation without any further hearings.
Okay, Carl, second. All in favor? All opposed? Okay, so it's passed. All right, moving on, Parks and Fairgrounds. Travis?
Yeah, park's going good. We, got the bathrooms opened up. We only had, one little spot where we had some issues with freezing. We've gotten that repaired, so all the restrooms, with the exception of out here at the fairgrounds, we don't open those till it warms up once they start using them, but, are up and running. The ball fields at Harry Hill have been prepped and, are getting practiced on every day of the week that the weather permits. They've got I think 3 more teams than they did last spring, so the Little League program is growing. We started our 4-H small engines class about 3 weeks ago. We've had two classes. We've got 2 more remaining. We've got 14 students this year. This is our biggest class that we've had, that we split up into 2 groups, working hands-on different pieces of equipment. I've already touched on Little League practicing. Youth League soccer actually started practicing tonight, and they'll be starting their games mid-April, along with Little League games starting in mid-April. And middle school soccer is using the park for their practices, the boys and girls team. We had a little bit of wind damage. When all that wind came through, we've since taken off and replaced the dugout roof at Harry Hill that was tore up, and then had a tree come across the fence on field 1 that's since been cleaned up. As far as we've gotten cuts on all of our soccer, football, baseball fields, and probably next week we'll start going across all the parks doing a one over on cutting. That's all I've got as far as parks report.
Any questions for Travis?
The next item of business is getting another full-time position at the park to replace Toby, who replaced me. And so we did an interview. We pulled the top candidates' resumes, did interviews, and I would like to recommend to the court for hiring Jeremy Thurman as a full-time employee as the Assistant Parks Director for the Parks Department.
Make a motion.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? All opposed? Everybody. All right, courthouse.
All right, the courthouse, the last pieces are finally finishing up with the construction. They redid and completed the front desk areas, dropping those down. And then also the old wainscoting that was in one of the conference rooms, that wasn't touched during construction, that had some issues, I guess due to humidity, that have since been replaced. They're up. I've got to go through and finish them with paint and caulking and that sort of thing. So I plan on finishing that up hopefully this week while we've got some rain days. So.
All right, and then the meeting updates, you want me to give that or you want to give it?
So I could. We had a meeting with Judge Crosby a couple weeks ago, basically to try to go over the ground rules of being able to have meetings back up at the courthouse, which was permitted last fall by Judge Crosby. But in our meeting, he brought up an issue of being able to control guns going into the courtroom, where county meetings are allowed to have open carry guns in them, whereas the courthouse does not allow concealed or open carry. Therefore, we wouldn't be able to regulate the guns in there and not allow us to be able to use that building. So the courthouse is currently occupied 100% by AOC. So basically we own the courthouse, but they're kind of leasing. They pay 100% of utilities, janitorial cost, and janitorial maintenance costs.
We have talked with Cassidy, she emailed back and forth to Judge Crosby. I've talked to Keiko's attorney, Rich Ornstein, and he says we're fighting a losing battle. That, he said even if we get approved to get in there from Judge Crosby, and then one person wants to carry open into the courtroom and we try to deny that, then we're gonna lose our lawsuit. And so it is our courthouse, and if we had to sell it tomorrow, it's fiscal courts, but it's not our courthouse either, I guess. But so we're not gonna be able to meet there, so we're gonna try to do maybe some remodeling here. We're trying to figure out our options, because our meetings are getting bigger, and it's just so uncomfortable to meet here all the time. So we're gonna have to figure out some seating. We may have to take out some walls to try to make this place and PA system, which we are working. We've got an out camera working now that we're getting ready to start live streaming. Tonight won't be live streamed, but it is being recorded just to see how the quality is with that. And so we're working on those things to make it better for the public to be able to be involved. And but the courthouse is not gonna be an option for us. So I think, according to Keiko's attorney, I'd already talked to Cassidy, but according to Keiko's attorney, he said we are just spending a lot of energy for nothing. So I guess we need to just take it a different direction. But we do want a comfortable place to have these meetings and to be comfortable for the public in the fiscal court or planning and zoning, whatever meeting it is, to try to make it more comfortable for people. So we are working on that. We'll move on to animal services. Dan?
How's it going? February was pretty good. Virtues started picking up and they dropped back off again. Still doing adoptions, but as soon as we get animals out of the shelter, animals are coming into the shelter. So, but we're working. Trimble County's gone through a couple hiccups. Their full-timer decided to seek other avenues of employment. So they promoted their part-timer, Heather, to full-time, and she's unbelievable. She shows up to work and works and works. So that's the breath of fresh air. But everything's going good, and we're doing the best we can with what we got.
All right, thank you. Any questions for Dan?
Can we ask him questions?
Yeah.
So I was at, last week, I think, at a city council meeting in Eminence, and it was brought up, I guess there's been several reports of stray dogs and, dogs in people's yards tearing up stuff and all that. Are you aware of any of that, or have you heard anything about any of that?
I've been working with Chief Wells.
Yeah.
And, I mean, when I get calls, I go down through there.
Okay.
If the dogs are running loose, we get them, we get them. And I can't keep a dog at the shelter from somebody. If we have their dog, they can come and reclaim their dog.
Right.
Time and time and time and time again.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know. I just, like I said, I just listened to this conversation between Mike and some concerned citizens, and they were,
Right. I was talking today to, the name has slipped me, the city attorney for Eminence.
Oh, yeah.
And we're working on rewriting some of the animal ordinances back there, and with Chief Wells. So we know of a couple areas, but if I get a call and I'm in Sulphur at the shelter and I gotta go to Eminence, that's a 20-minute drive.
Right.
And the likelihood of a dog being in the same area for 20 minutes in Eminence, I patrol the streets, sometimes I find them, and sometimes I
Well,
don't.
like I said, I was just curious, because that did come up at that meeting. So.
Yeah, I do respond, and the Eminence officers all have my cell number, and they usually call me, and I respond pretty good.
Okay.
And Ed, I will say, we did have Dan sitting in different places just trying to see what was going on, but we decided that that was just really a waste.
Sure.
Because where he would be sitting wouldn't be nothing going on, and you know, 3 or 4
Two
blocks
streets
away
over.
it is, so.
Right.
So we decided that he would be better off working at the shelter and maybe doing some other patrol and that kind of thing, other than just sitting around trying to catch somebody's
I've been
dog.
in Pleasureville Depot, Port Royal, we pulled a couple out of Port Royal this past week, pulled 1 or 2 out of Eminence. Nothing really in Pleasureville, which it seems to be calmed down. Train station,
was
we pulled
complaining.
1, and Campbellsburg, we pulled a couple.
Okay, committee reports, Roger, I know y'all met.
Yeah, the committee did meet at the shelter. We met in conjunction with Trimble County, their committee as well. The committee seemed to be getting along as well as what Dan and the Trimble County employee is doing well together, the camaraderie of those. They still have to, like Dan said, they let their full-time member make a decision whether they want to move on or stay, and so they need to fill that spot with the temporary or the part-time. I'll reiterate that this agency for Trimble County, our vehicle for our animal control is a retired jailer car. We need to upgrade when this budget comes around and get a truck that represents animal control in a quality manner, as well as uniforms for the employees that need to wear the.
I was just cold this morning.
So I like the communication that Trimble County and Henry County has, and we'll continue to make that service a better service for the county.
I will say that I talked to Judge Osborne, last week, and they're talking about trying to do a dead animal removal, compost, thing, so we're trying to kind of work with them to see if it's viable, and maybe the 2 counties go together on that, but, it may be more than we can afford to spend, but we're keeping that line of communication open to see if it's something that we could offer, so just to let people know kind of what's being discussed. Okay, Economic Development Committee.
Committee did meet at the Jericho Firehouse, Lake Jericho Firehouse. The meeting was mainly pertaining to the Pendleton Sewer project that we're looking at. 3 options of supplying sewer for that area were presented, all of them way above budget. So we've got to continue to work towards finding out how we can afford to move that particular area forward with sewers. So that was pretty much the committee meeting, and we know that there's other economic development in the county, and we are concerned about that, but it seems like some of it might be handling itself in the cities, so that they do a good job as well. If Pendleton could incorporate and be their own city, this would be a whole lot simpler, but they're part of the county as an unincorporated portion of the city, the county, so we've just got to do it ourselves.
Mike, did you want to give a report for the economic development meeting today?
What we talked about primarily was sewers in the Pendleton area and what type of growth we may or may not see us coming with or without sewers. So Roger covered it very well. We covered the planning and zoning meeting considering bourbon warehouses at Pendleton, and that was rejected. And just from that, how can Pendleton grow? What type of industries may be attracted without sewers? What type of industries may be able to help with funding sewers? And so that was the direction that we went, and primarily all of it was the Pendleton area. Amy also came up with some ideas for how the Economic Development Council, not the one that's fiscal court economic development, but the county economic development, how we can work better with representing the people and achieve some of our goals. So we need to look at how we may be able to do that.
Okay, thank you. All right, sheriff's report.
We received 298 calls from KSP Dispatch. 137 calls came into the sheriff's office for service. Citation criminal summons, we had 90. Criminal arrest, 46. Warrant arrest, 36. Paper served, 117. Transported one MIW, which is a mental inquest warrant. 66 vehicle inspections. 21 carry concealed license, 1 DUI arrest, 4 drug charge arrests.
All right, any questions for Keith? And I will say to the court and the public too, Paige Lucas is who I know her by, but she had surgery, was it yesterday or the day before? Yesterday, yeah. And she, got to bleeding in her lungs and they had to put her on a vent. Now, she did come off the vent today, so keep her in your prayers.
Still in ICU tonight, but he says probably home.
So hopefully, she, she'll be okay, so just wanted to bring it to public's attention.
Sheriff, can you educate me on the courthouse security? Do they require us to have somebody at the
Metal detector?
metal detector?
Yes.
Do they require us to have just one person, or do they need others that?
If you listen to ALC's recommendation, I'd have to have 10 people in that courthouse. I mean, that's a fact. They would like to have 2 there. They want 2 we got a room with nothing but cameras. Of course, the courtrooms, they want 2 in. We have a court order though that says we can get by with 3, and we're still kind of using that. But yeah, somebody's always manning the metal detector if the doors are open off the courthouse.
A lot of days we've got 4 done.
Yeah, a lot of days we do have 4 people in there.
I see a lot of days we've had 4.
And they pay us back for that?
Yes.
So they pay their part of that. If we got somebody making more than that, we pay it, and then we pay their benefits too.
They did give us a raise this year. It was $9 an hour forever. They reimbursed us. Well, nobody's gonna work for $9 an hour, so we was paying way above that to have people work. But they bumped that up to 15 an hour now. But we have to keep a log, of the hours worked. The judge will sign off on it. It's sent to ALC, and then they reimburse us. Yes.
Thank you.
That is still coming, the retirement, if it's anybody that's working full-time, that's still coming out of the fiscal court budget. And we've been having some discussions over that, trying to figure out what we can do different. Not as far as us getting back into the court, but just, how we can work to make sure they are safe. I mean, really, we don't want an incident. I know they had one last week when they was getting ready to have that meeting, and I think it was, some juveniles, I think maybe 3 of them, so, yeah, it could be dangerous, so.
If we had 10 people, we'd have had him outnumbered.
Thank you, Keith. Okay, you got a copy of the new jailer's budget. We had to approve that, so this would be the first reading of the jailer's budget. We didn't make many changes. We did change for the jailer's vehicle. We raised that up, and we're gonna try to get him a new vehicle. I know everybody wants a new vehicle, and we definitely need some new vehicles, so we're trying to work it into our budget and see what we can do. Like I say, the numbers is all pretty much the same as they was last year, up to $2,600 more. Anybody has any questions, or I'll take a motion to pass it as presented.
Make a motion.
Motion by Danny, second by Brad, all in favor? All right, thank you, we'll get that took care of. All right, next is, the annual report for the soil conservation. Alan Bryant, glad to have you here.
All right, it's good to be here this evening, and let me thank Fiscal Court and Judge Bates for the report of the Conservation District. I'll be very brief. I just wanted to give you just a brief update. Curtis Combs, an employee, he left last year. We have replaced him with Cheryl Perry. She is a young lady that grew up on a dairy farm, and she brings a great deal of experience, farm practical experience, to help producers discuss and figure out what conservation practice would work best on their farm. She's very capable, and we're excited that she's going to do a great job and pick up the pieces where Curtis left off. Conservation practices, I'm happy to tell you, here in Henry County, we have more EQIP, that's a federal cost share program, environmental quality incentives program, than any other of the surrounding counties around us. So we're pretty excited about that, and I think that's a testament to the partnership we have with the NRCS, the Natural Resources Conservation Service, and the Kentucky Division of Conservation. And it's also a testament to the producers in Henry County that want to protect their land, to save their topsoil, and to have clean water as well, clean surface water as well. So, tree giveaway to the public. I can't give you a date just yet. I'm thinking mid-April. We did this for the last 2 or 3 years, I believe. Now, these are going to be seedlings. We're going to give them away free to the public. You can like this on Facebook and or send Shayna at the office. You can always call the office, 845-2890. And you can call Shayna. She can stick you on an email list and get you notice. The issue is with the Kentucky Division of Forestry, they provide trees throughout the state, conservation districts throughout the state. So they're literally trying to distribute thousands of trees. So there's kind of a short shelf life. And when you get them, you got to put them in the ground. So typically we've done this on a Sunday afternoon after church. And we'll put that on Facebook, and contact Shane, and we'll try to give you our best estimate of what it's going to be, or that email would work great. We can send that out to you. Now, these are small. Don't get too excited. They're not like this. They're small little seedlings, about like that. You got to have some water. It takes some time, and you got to be kind of patient, and try not to mow over them or weed eat. That's
the worst part.
That is the worst part. The Conservation District has purchased 2 pieces of equipment, a hydraulic post driver. We have received that, and we're getting ready to put that on Facebook and let people rent that out. We're waiting on a no-till drill. It's a small one. It's 7 foot. We're finding out that for our EQIP applications, over half are beginner or small farmers. And this, they don't have big tractors, and it's pretty narrow. It'll go behind your pickup truck, and especially if you're not very experienced at pulling wide loads down the road, that would work pretty well. There is a need for that in the county for the no-till drill. There's a lot of conservation practices where people are doing that, and it will work out well for them. Same thing with the post driver. NRCS pays for more fence than any other conservation practice that they put in. So we really didn't realize this, but in working with NRCS, there's a need for this, and we try to respond to that. You do not have to do a conservation practice with us. It would be open to the public. You've got to take care of it. You're going to be responsible for it. And other than that, unless there's some questions, thank you for your time.
What brand post driver?
It's the best bid, we had to bid these out, and it came from Andrew at Wright's, and it's not a new ideal, it's some other, it's hydraulic and it goes every which way, you don't have to crank, you just got to stay out of the way if you're going to use it.
Yeah.
So.
Ask Danny Craig, and he can tell you he lost a thumb that way.
Yeah, they are. It's no fun when the post breaks and comes back at you, so you can stand away. It's got a little one that holds the post in place, but that still doesn't mean accidents won't happen. So.
Are these where are you gonna have these machines at?
They're gonna be housed at the FSA, Farm Service Agency, over there. We're in the process of trying to put them under a building where they won't weather and be out of the rain and stuff like that. We're gonna be just a little while, so we're still trying to get everything put together. But
who are you gonna have maintaining them?
It'll be NRCS staff, Cheryl and Shayna, and we're getting equipped for that as well.
Like I say, a whole lot of that stuff has to be greased a lot, you know?
It does. It does.
When is it open to sign up for equip? Is there a...
You can sign up at any time. I think the openings for equip, or you could do that at any time, just call and plan ahead. Now, there are some hard deadlines, but you don't have to wait. As far as I know, you can come in and work on your conservation plan, and they'll be happy to work with you. Come out to the farm, whatever's gonna work out for you.
Do you know what kind of seedlings they're gonna have this year by any chance? Cause I know we planted about 600 so far, and they've been oak and locust.
That decision on what to order is above my pay grade, so Shayna has kept track of that much better than I have, and just more so by popular demand. My apologies, but I couldn't tell you what kind they are.
Any other questions for Al? What do you want to spot? Thank you, Alan.
Thank you.
All right, claims and transfers. Can I get a motion? Motion by Brad, second by Danny, all in favor? All right. Okay, public comments, we'll limit.
Hold on, Scott.
Wait a minute, I'm sorry. Yeah, I need to put Amanda in here.
So fiscal, I handed you all out some paperwork, that's quotes on our fiscal software. It's a pretty big expense. It's obviously one that we've not budgeted for, but, we'll need a motion, to spend this to upgrade all of our software, which is at a point where we kind of don't have a choice.
Here's our problem, with the software we have now. With some of the lines, when we'll look at, say, August of last year, and you'll have this amount of money, and then in September, you got zero in that line item, and in October, that same amount of money is back. We don't know where it's going, nobody's spending it, I mean, nobody's putting anything in, but it'll just leave and it'll come back. Our auditors are saying, we have gotta do something different. That what you have is, what, 44,000 something, I can't remember the exact number, but, it is a 20-year license, for that, and then it'll cost $10,000 a year for maintenance on it. What we're paying right now is $5,000 a year, but we're not getting any maintenance. So we've got to do something.
Is the 44,000, is it paid up front, or is it stretched out over time?
No, it's paid.
Paid up front?
That's a lot of money. We talked, did you put the map in there?
Yeah.
Of all the counties around us that's using this same software. They've switched from what we have now, which we've got the same software. Peggy Bryant told me that it's the same software she started out with, is what we're using today. So she said it's been needed a long time. And that's from a lady that is tighter than bark on a tree. But she knows we gotta do something, because this is, I mean, when your auditors tell you you need to do something, that's a pretty good sign you need to do something.
So we have funds
Software
available?
that this is, there's basically two providers, the current one that we have and this one. So that's our options. It's not like there's lots of fiscal software out there, there's not.
And I don't wanna bash anybody. The one we have now is a lady that's retiring. So she's hard to get a hold of, and, the new company is younger people that this is their job. And, I just really feel like this is probably, we did get to meet them at the, Treasurers Conference. Myself, Amanda, and Travis went to that, in Bowling Green last week, and very knowledgeable and wanna help. Of course, everybody wants to help for $45,000, but, they know their business. And our auditor says that it's a very good program. We talked to them after the fact, and they say it's a very good program, so.
Does, Amanda, does this include all of the stuff listed on here?
So the three highlighted programs. are
Fiscal
what we-
books, fiscal pay, and fiscal express?
Correct.
Yeah.
So currently, we have three separate softwares. We have one for payroll, one for account payroll, and then you've got your budget software. This actually ties it all into one, program, instead of having three separate programs.
They don't have to punch it in multiple times.
Right.
So we need a motion?
Wait.
Make it.
Motion by Brad,
I'll second.
second by you. All in favor?
Go back, bro.
All opposed? Okay, that's it. All right, now, on to public comments, and, we limit, 3 minutes per speaker.
I have two questions. The gentleman with the roads mentioned that there was a lot of federal money floating around. Is there federal money to get water to the people? I mean, we almost bought a McComb bottle, but there was no water. Is there federal money for that? That's my first question. My second question is, with that kind of money, can we get environmental impact studies done? I don't know that anybody knows this.
I don't think that, we're working on the account bottle deal, let me tell you that. Brad's on top of that. We've talked to North Shelby Water, Henry County Water. We're trying to get that. We got it working in the state, the legislators, we've talked to both of them. They're working on it.
I had a meeting with somebody today.
You had a meeting?
Yeah.
So we're trying to get that resolved. Everybody, for the most part, tells us the same thing. It's so far, they can't keep fresh water in the line because there won't be enough usage there that they say it's such a liability because you get that water laying in the lines for too long a period of time, it gets stale, and somebody can get killed from it. So, one of the, North Shelby told me they would have to just leave the valve open at the end of the line to let it run 24/7 to keep that from happening, because some of this place there's miles between houses, so you got a lot of dead water laying there. So that's their reasoning. That's not good enough. I feel like we can do something, so we're working on it. And as far as the environmental study, I'm sure what Kenny's talking about is not, nothing for environmental study on
Just
that.
road.
Okay, any other comment? Gene?
Just in regards to the EMS, as a taxpayer, and I understand you guys are working on a budget, I think it'd be nice to see an itemized budget for that. Also, in regards to that, as someone who used to serve this county in the emergency services, at one time there was 4 ambulances in this county that served this whole county. Main reason the paid service came about was in regards to the times you're referring to. We weren't getting from point A to point B in the state, in the time the state says you gotta do it. So that's where the paid service came about. If you ever have a radio that you can listen to, there's several times there's not an ambulance available in our county. I hear them call for other assistance, which by law, you have to have agreements with neighbor and partner. For the same way when we had the 4 squads in the county, we each had to sign an agreement that, yes, we'll cover your county if we're out. Same way you were talking about. But there's been a number of occasions in our county that they have called for an ambulance for Shelby County, they're tied up. They've called Carroll County, they're tied up, so on and so forth. Here recently, there was a call that finally, one of the trucks here in the county got broke loose from where they were at, responded back to take care of it. The point that I'm kind of getting to, we're getting things in our county, like our barns that we're putting up. If one of those are on fire, there needs to be a truck there with that fire service. Not because of the fire so much, but for those firefighters. Something's happened, they're there. Now, one truck's tied up for that. Somebody over here has a heart attack. Now you have no trucks. So I'm just kind of letting you be aware, if you're not aware, you might do some digging and studying and seeing, is there some money somewhere, possibly maybe, that another truck could be put on it? And again, I understand that there's a lot of expense to that. But again, been there, done that, had to do that all in volunteer status. working with budgets as a fire chief here in the county. I understand all that.
But, to answer two parts of your question. The first part is, I'm sure, that as soon as the budget is finished, which will be, it has to be done before June.
Right.
As soon as the budget's finished, it'll be a matter of public record. So the other thing I'll tell you is, I know that we're setting money aside yearly to purchase another ambulance. What I heard last night was, when the last new ambulance was bought here, and I don't know what year it is, but the last new ambulance was bought here, they were a shade over $200,000. They're over 300,000 now, and the wait time is like 2 years to get one. So what they're trying to do is go to other states and buy the box off of them and put a cab and chassis under them. So, yeah, they're working on that. I don't know, I've only been here a couple months, so I don't really know. I got a notebook last night about that thick of stuff that I have no idea what it is, but I'm gonna read it, you know. So we'll figure, but yeah, I think you'll find it, the people that are sitting on that commission right now are working diligently trying to make
I know
this.
it's been in play for some time now, meaning the taxing district and so forth. I don't know if anybody else has ever seen one, but since it's been in play, I can never recall seeing.
The budget, you mean?
An itemized budget.
Yeah, well, I saw the one from last year last night.
Right.
So, or from this
It's
year last
always
night.
available, Gene, at the court, at our office.
But it has to be done by June, and then it'll be a matter of public record.
July 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, very aware of those things.
And we meet on the third Monday of every month at 5 o'clock at the EMS building, and you're more than welcome. It's open to the public. That would be easier to get more in-depth and detail. That would definitely be something.
And I'm not trying to start World War III.
No, I understand that.
I know a whole lot of you guys up there. I know a whole lot of you are just now getting your feet wet, so to say.
Right.
Just like you're talking about. And I know there is a whole lot of red tape you gotta work your way through. There used to be, I don't know if there still is or not, but there used to be grants out there for ambulance. That was one way we, as volunteers, we kind of went around the county and let's say District 1, for example, if they were up for an ambulance, it may went to District 2 because District 1 didn't have as many miles or whatever.
Right.
But way back, and I'm sure there were somewhere out there, that's how the county, that's how it went through the county in order to get those fundings for those trucks.
Right. Yeah, and I'm not, like I said, I'm not real sure about all that because of the agreement with Baptist.
Right.
How exactly how that works. That's the reason I requested a copy of that agreement, because I want to understand it before I say anything, you know, so.
I agree with you, my friend.
All I know is about that thick.
Gene, it might be good though for you to go to some of those meetings, if you got time before you get real busy. Just to put your side of that input into the board meeting, just so, I mean, you're not there to browbeat them, but if we can improve, we need to improve.
Right.
So I think it'd be good.
Yeah.
Hugh.
Scotty, does other counties have this same problem not being able to use their courthouse?
The problem is, Hugh, the other counties around us have got judicial centers in their old courthouse. We remodeled our courthouse. So Owen County, they have full control of their old courthouse, so they don't have a problem. Shelby County, same thing. Oldham County's got their own courthouse. There's really nobody around us that uses the judicial center for their courthouse. So we're kind of unique.
So we screwed up by remodeling our old courthouse and put it all right there.
That's what I told Mary Ann the other night. I said, we probably messed up. But that was only, I mean, we spent $16 million, which they can say what they want to, that's still taxpayers' dollars.
That's right.
To do that, and
How
now
come
we can't even
before,
use it.
how come before the courthouse, you know, how was we allowed to used to be able to meet in there?
Well,
I mean, just now, all of a sudden, the judge says, no, since this is carried law, you can't do this now.
there was, one reason we could meet is because the jailer was there. The sheriff's department was there until 2012, So that, we had part of it, we was paying the bills for his portion. And then we had the jailer until it closed down, which he was really in the back room back there, he couldn't even get to him really, but.
Yeah, he was in the closet.
Yeah, he was, in the coat closet. But, so then, when they, made the judicial center, since then, they passed the open carry law. It's been between when we went out of the courthouse and when they got the courthouse done. I think it was 2019 or.
19, yes.
When they made it open carry is legal in this room, in one of our meetings. So that's what we're dealing with. And it bothers me, trust me, me and Marion went to bed last night talking about it, but there's nothing we can do about it, right now. I just don't see any way out, really.
So there's no way, you know, as far as getting people together and say, hey, this is what we want, you can't.
That don't make any difference to them.
Okay.
By the state, basically.
You wanna offer to give them $10 a month for electric?
We was paying, I mean, we had the meeting thinking that we was gonna go in there and he was gonna tell us how many, police officers we needed in and during the meetings and all that. Well, he cut us off at the knees and we ain't gonna have a meeting in there. And, cause we'd already been talking to Keith about how we was gonna work it, and they had to be, somebody stay at the, metal detector at all times when the building was open, and we was gonna agree to clean everything up, and I mean, we thought we had our ducks in a row, but we found out we didn't. He scattered them.
I say it's a shame that one person seemed like they could control everything, you know, it's like.
But, like I say, I even talked to the KCO attorney, and he said, sooner or later, you're gonna get sued, and whoever sues you is gonna win, because they can open carry.
And there is a case, so there's been a case pending since 2021 in the Court of Appeals, and they made a decision in that case where basically, because we have an open carry state now, we as the governing body in Henry County can't prohibit persons from carrying openly in our meetings without enacting an ordinance that does that. We don't have that ordinance in our county, similar like the issue that the Court of Appeals has decided on in Pikeville. They wanted to use a center for government purposes. It was also used for it was an event center, so to speak. They also held government meetings in that building, where ours is a judicial center that we want to hold a government meeting in that building. The Court of Appeals had to decide whether or not us as a governing body can prohibit people from carrying openly now that we're an open carry state. That Pikeville did not have an ordinance enacted at the time, nor do we have an ordinance enacted at the time. And eventually, even if we enact an ordinance, as Judge Bates described, more than likely, you're opening yourselves again for an additional lawsuit or set yourself to liability for those who want to exercise their right to carry in a government meeting. So we would find ourselves more than likely in the same situation, pending lawsuit.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Sorry, but that's what the answer we've been getting.
That's not our courthouse, man, you know.
Yeah, that's right. Any other comments? Yes, sir.
I would just like to get a few minutes after the meeting to speak with the road director and my magistrate. Just a little issue I got over in my neighborhood.
Alrighty.
Just want to let everybody know so they don't just fly out of here.
Who's your magistrate?
Mr. McManus.
Okay. All right. Okay, Robin.
Yes, I'm on Barmore. I stood up earlier, I know it was out of the tune, but I had a question. The document that was passed out for the magistrates to read and make a decision, what was that document? Was that prepared? Was that the meeting minutes? Was that something prepared that they made a decision in less than 10 minutes?
It was the whole.
I'm an adjoining landowner to the Wayland's Red Barn, so I was asking, what was that document that they read?
One was the meeting minutes.
One was the meeting minutes?
One's the certificate of land use restrictions, which is listed all the things that he can't do.
And you all had
And the
not
other
seen
one's a
that
proposed map
document
amendment.
before tonight.
Pardon me?
You had not seen those documents before.
No, we heard, I was at the meeting and I heard, but I had not seen them, no.
I was at the meeting, I've done heard all this.
I was at the meeting also.
Yeah. So we pretty much knew, it just, we hadn't seen it in writing.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Hi, my name is Randy Strobo. Thank you, Judge and Magistrates, for the time. I represent Doug Daniel, so I just want to confirm that you all affirmed tonight the decision, or the recommendation of the Planning Commission in that case, correct? That's what happened tonight?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comment? All right, court comment. Okay, what about a motion to adjourn? Brad, second, Danny, all in favor? Thank you all. Hey, Kevin.
Yeah, I'm coming. I got two different